I wanted was a peaceful Thanksgiving, until my family plotted to sign over my house to my brother. I decided to give them something else to be thankful for. The deed transfer papers felt like ice in my hands. I stood frozen in my kitchen, staring at the partially signed document that would strip away everything I'd worked for. My name is Paige, and this was supposed to be a perfect Thanksgiving dinner, not the day I discovered my family's betrayal. Paige, honey, where are those serving platters you promised? My mother's voice snapped me back to reality. I quickly shoved the papers back into the drawer, my hands trembling. Coming, Mom, I called back, forcing cheerfulness into my voice. I grabbed the antique platters I'd collected over years of antiquing, another passion my family dismissed as frivolous. The aroma of roasting turkey filled my lovingly renovated Victorian home. I'd spent 3 years turning this historic property into a showpiece, doing most of the work myself. Every brass fixture, every restored hardwood floor, every carefully chosen paint color reflected my vision. This place still needs work, my brother Jared announced, running his finger along my newly installed crown molding as I passed him with the platters. You should have hired professionals. I bit my tongue. The professionals quoted me triple what I spent doing it myself. That's because they know what they're doing, my father chimed in, not looking up from his phone. Speaking of which, Jared just closed another $1 million deal this morning. That's wonderful, I managed, setting down the platters with more force than necessary. A familiar ache settled in my chest, the same one I'd felt since childhood whenever Jared's achievements overshadowed my existence. My Aunt Bonnie caught my eye from across the room and gave me a sympathetic smile. She'd always been different from the rest, actually seeing me for who I was. Paige, dear, my mother called from the kitchen, why don't you let Jared carve the turkey? He has such steady hands. It's my house, Mom, I'll carve my own turkey. The words came out sharper than intended. Now, my father intervened, finally looking up. No need to get defensive, we're just trying to help. I forced a smile and headed to the kitchen to check on the sides. As I stirred the gravy, I overheard whispered conversations from the dining room. Papers are ready, for her own good. Jared knows best. My hand tightened around the wooden spoon. The deed transfer papers in my drawer suddenly made horrible sense. They weren't just planning to take my house, they'd already set the wheels in motion. Need any help? Bonnie appeared beside me, her voice low. You look like you've seen a ghost. I found something, I whispered, glancing over my shoulder. In my drawer. They're trying to dinner's getting cold, my mother announced, sweeping into the kitchen. Paige, stop fussing with the gravy, it's fine. Throughout dinner, I watched my family with new eyes. Every compliment about my cooking came with a subtle dig. Every mention of my renovation choices carried an undercurrent of criticism. Jared sat at the head of my table, a position he'd simply assumed, smirking between bites of turkey. You know, he said, swirling his wine. This place has so much potential. The market's hot right now. A few professional upgrades, the right management. He trailed off meaningfully. My mother beamed. You've always had such a good head for business, dear. I stood abruptly, my chair scraping against the floor. Anyone want coffee? I just got a new French press. Waste of money, my father muttered. Regular coffee maker works fine. In the kitchen, I gripped the counter until my knuckles turned white. Through the serving window, I could see them all. My mother's satisfied smile, my father's dismissive glances, Jared's calculated observation of my home, like it was already his. Only Bonnie looked concerned, her eyes meeting mine with worry. She knew something was wrong. She'd always known how they treated me, but this was different. This wasn't just their usual dismissal of my achievements. This was theft wrapped in family obligation. The coffee maker gurgled, and I made a decision. They thought I was naive, incapable, someone to be managed. They had no idea what I was capable of. I'd play along, serve their coffee, smile at their condescension. But I'd also find out exactly what they were planning. Coffee's ready, I called out, my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. As I arranged the cups on my grandmother's silver tray, another piece they probably planned to manage for me, I made a silent promise to myself. They wanted to play games? Fine. But they were about to learn that their supposedly helpless daughter had learned a few tricks of her own. While serving coffee, I casually placed my phone on the sideboard. Voice recorder running. Years of being dismissed had taught me to document everything. Tonight, that habit would prove invaluable. Paige, sweetheart, my mother started, stirring her coffee with practiced precision. We've been thinking about your future. Oh? I kept my voice light, innocent. What about it? Jarrett leaned forward. All business. You've done adequate work here, sis. But this property has serious investment potential, the kind that requires experienced management. I've managed just fine, I said, noting how my father's eyes narrowed at my defiance. Honey, my mother interjected, we're just concerned, a single woman, all alone in this big house. I set down my coffee cup carefully. I'm not alone. I have great neighbors, friends, a successful career, middle management position, Jared scoffed. Hardly the kind of success this family is known for. My father nodded sagely. Your brother's right. We've always been leaders, innovators. Speaking of which, Jared, tell them about your new development project. As Jared launched into another self-congratulatory monologue, I slipped away to the kitchen, ostensibly to fetch dessert. Instead, I placed another phone behind the cookie jar, recording. Then I grabbed my tablet from the counter, appearing to check a recipe while actually starting its recording function, before returning it to its stand. Pie's almost ready, I called out, buying time to position my devices. Remember when Paige tried to start that interior design business? I heard my mother say, her voice carrying from the dining room. Thank goodness we talked her out of that foolishness. Best thing we ever did. My father agreed. She would have bankrupted herself in months. I gripped the edge of the counter, breathing deeply. That foolishness had been my dream, one they'd crushed with constant criticism and dire predictions until I'd given up. Never again. Returning with the pie, I found Jarrett examining my living room's restored fireplace. This craftsmanship is amateur at best, he declared. We'll need to redo all of this. We? I asked innocently. The contractors I work with, he said smoothly. They'll fix everything up once the transfer is complete. I nearly dropped the pie. They were being so blatant about it now, so confident in their control over me, that they didn't even try to hide their plans. Transfer? I kept my voice steady. Don't worry about the details, dear. My mother soothed. Jared will handle everything, like he always does, my father added proudly. Bonnie, who'd been quietly observing, spoke up. Paige has done amazing work here. This house is her achievement, an achievement that needs proper direction, Jarrett countered. Face it, sis, you're out of your depth. This property deserves professional management. I served the pie with trembling hands, but not from fear, from rage. Each condescending comment, each dismissive glance fueled my determination. You know what? I said, forcing a smile. You might be right. I should learn more about property management. In fact, I've been reading up on real estate law lately. Oh, honey. My mother laughed. Leave that to the professionals. You focus on keeping this place tidy for now. As if I were nothing more than a caretaker in my own home. The evening wore on, and I played my part perfectly, the dutiful daughter, nodding at their wisdom, accepting their criticism, all while my devices captured every damning word. Finally, as they prepared to leave, Jared pulled me aside. Don't worry, sis. I'll make sure you're taken care of when everything's settled. That's so thoughtful, I replied, watching him search my face for any sign of suspicion and finding none. After they left, Bonnie lingered. You're planning something, she said quietly. I hugged her tightly. Thank you for always seeing me. Be careful, she warned, but give them hell. Alone at last, I collected my phones and tablet, hands steady now with purpose. Playing back the recordings, I heard their true colors in high definition, their plans to manipulate me, their disdain for my achievements, their certainty that I was too naive to stop them. I opened my laptop and began typing an email to Ethan, my mentor in real estate development. He'd been teaching me the business for months, though my family didn't know it. They thought I was taking cooking classes. Meeting tomorrow? I typed. I have something you need to hear. Their mistake wasn't in underestimating me. Their mistake was in thinking I was still the compliant daughter who would roll over and accept their decisions. They had no idea what I was capable of, and they were about to find out. The next morning, I sat in Ethan's office, my recordings queued up on my laptop. His corner office overlooked the city's skyline, a view earned through decades of smart real estate investments. Play them, he said, leaning back in his chair. I hit play, and my family's voices filled the room. With each passing minute, Ethan's expression darkened. Your mother just called you financially illiterate, he noted, shaking his head. The same woman whose daughter I've been mentoring in property development for the past year. Keep listening, I said grimly. Jarrett's voice came through clearly. Once the transfer is complete, we'll leverage the property for the new development. Paige won't understand the complexities, but that's why we're handling everything. Ethan stopped the recording. They're planning to use your house as collateral for one of your brother's projects? That's not even the worst part. I played another clip. My father's voice. The trust fund should have gone to Jared in the first place. This fixes that mistake. The trust fund? Ethan sat up straighter. The one your grandmother left specifically to you? The very same. They've been trying to access it for years, but it's ironclad until I'm 40. I pulled out the deed transfer papers I'd found. This is their solution. If Jarrett owns my house, he controls the trust fund's collateral, Ethan finished. Damn. There's more. I played the final recording where my mother and Jarrett discuss their plans in detail. We'll need to move quickly, Jarrett was saying, before she realizes what's happening. I've already lined up buyers for a quick flip once we renovate. My clever boy, my mother cooed, always thinking ahead. Ethan's face had turned to stone. They're not just trying to take your house. They're trying to steal your entire financial future. I know. I pulled out another folder. But here's what they don't know. I've been documenting everything for months, every dismissive comment, every attempt to undermine me. And this, I handed him a stack of papers. This is what I've really been working on. Ethan scanned the documents, his eyes widening. You've been buying up properties around your house, under an LLC? 3 properties, all strategic locations. I allowed myself a small smile. Jared's not the only one who can play the real estate game. And they have no idea? They think I'm taking cooking classes. I laughed bitterly, because what else would their helpless daughter be doing with her time? Ethan studied the property maps. These locations, you're thinking what I'm thinking? Historic district development, boutique shops, high-end restaurants, the kind of project that would triple property values in the area, including your house. Ethan nodded appreciatively, which you own free and clear. Exactly. But I need your help. I leaned forward. I want to announce the development at the family dinner next week. The one where they're planning to spring their deed transfer plan on me. You want to beat them at their own game? Ethan's eyes sparkled. Count me in, but we'll need to move fast. How much capital do you have access to? I pulled out my bank statements. Everything I've saved for the past 5 years, plus I've already secured preliminary funding from 3 investors. Make that 4, Ethan said firmly. I want in on this. We spent the next hour planning, strategizing. By the time I left his office, we had a solid plan and a presentation that would leave my family speechless. My phone buzzed as I reached my car. A text from my mother. Family dinner next Friday. Important matters to discuss. Wear something nice. I could almost hear the condescension in her words. Another buzz. Jared has wonderful news to share. I'm sure he does, I thought, typing back a cheerful acceptance. One more text came through, this time from Bonnie. Just heard about Friday. You okay? Better than okay, I replied. But I need your help with something. Name it, came her immediate response. I smiled as I drove home. My family thought they had everything planned perfectly. They thought their dutiful daughter would sit quietly while they dismantled her life. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Back home, I stood in my kitchen, running my hand along the countertop I'd installed myself. Every inch of this house represented my hard work, my vision, my independence. And in 1 week, I would show them exactly what their helpless daughter was capable of. Let them plan their ambush. I had plans of my own. The week before the family dinner, I met Bonnie at a quiet cafe across town. Away from prying eyes and familiar faces, I laid out my plan. They're going to lose their minds, Bonnie said, examining the development proposals, especially Jared. He's been trying to break into historic district development for years. I know. I sipped my coffee. He's been rejected 3 times by the Preservation Board. While you've been quietly building relationships with them through your renovation work, Bonnie finished, understanding dawning on her face. You clever girl. My phone buzzed. Another text from my mother. Jarrett's bringing his real estate lawyer on Friday just to handle some paperwork. Nothing to worry about. Look at this. I showed Bonnie the message. They're not even trying to hide it anymore because they think you're too naive to understand what's happening. Bonnie's face hardened. Your mother called me yesterday asking me to help convince you if you got difficult about their plans. And what did you say? I told her I'd do whatever was best for you. Bonnie's eyes twinkled. I just didn't specify what I thought that was. My phone rang. Ethan. The investors are in, he said without preamble. All 4 signed this morning. We're fully funded. Perfect timing. I checked my watch. The Preservation Board meeting starts in an hour. Need me there? No. I've got this one. But be ready for Friday? Wouldn't miss it for the world. At the Preservation Board meeting, I presented my vision for the historic district. The board members, who'd rejected Jarrett's plans for modern high-rises multiple times, nodded approvingly at my proposals for restoration-focused development. Miss Page, the board chairman said, this is exactly the kind of thoughtful development we've been hoping to see. Your work on your own home shows you understand the value of preserving our architectural heritage. Thank you, sir. I handed over the final paperwork. With your approval, we can begin next month. Consider it approved. He stamped the documents. Welcome to the Historic District business community. As I left the meeting, another text arrived from Jarrett this time. Hope you're ready for some exciting changes, sis. Friday's going to be a big day. I forwarded it to Bonnie, who responded immediately. The audacity. Want me to bring anything Friday? Just your phone, I replied. Set to record. The next few days passed in a blur of preparation. I reviewed contracts, finalized permits, and prepared my presentation. Ethan's team created professional renderings of the development plans, showing how my properties would transform the neighborhood while preserving its historic character. Thursday night, my mother called. Darling, I hope you're not planning to cook tomorrow. I'm having it catered. In my house, I kept my voice neutral. Well, yes, we want everything to be perfect for the big announcement. Jarrett has so much planned, I'm sure he does. I watched my computer screen as the final permits were approved online. Don't worry, Mom, everything will be perfect. Friday morning I met with Ethan one last time. The press release is ready, he said, showing me the draft. As soon as you give the signal tomorrow, it goes live. Your family's reactions will be immortalized in real estate history. Perfect. I checked my presentation again. And the investors? All joining by video call when you're ready. They're quite excited to meet the woman who's about to transform the historic district. I smiled, remembering Jarrett's failed attempts to woo these same investors. One last thing. Did you get the documents I asked for? Ethan patted his briefcase. All here. Financial records, trust fund details, everything showing their attempts to access your money. Plus records of every property deal Jarrett's botched in the last 5 years. You're the best, Ethan. Just doing my part to support a brilliant investor. He squeezed my shoulder. Show them who you really are. Back home, I walked through my house one last time before the evening's events. Every restored molding, every carefully chosen fixture reminded me of what I'd built and what they'd tried to take. My phone buzzed with a final text from Bonnie. Ready to raise hell? I looked at my dining room, set for battle rather than dinner. My laptop ready to reveal truths they never saw coming. More than ready, I texted back. Time to show them exactly who they've been underestimating. The caterers would arrive soon, followed by my family, their lawyer, and their plans to take everything I'd built. They thought they were staging an intervention. Instead, they were walking into an ambush of their own making. The caterers arrived first, transforming my dining room into what looked like a corporate lunch meeting. My mother followed, swooping in to rearrange everything they'd set up. Darling, you look tense, she said, adjusting a flower arrangement. Here, let me fix your hair. I stepped back. My hair is fine, Mom, just trying to help you look professional. She pursed her lips. Jared's bringing some important people, I'm aware. I smoothed my blazer, tailored, expensive, and definitely not what she'd expected me to wear. Is that his lawyer's car pulling up? Through the window, I watched Jared escort a stern-looking man in an expensive suit up my walkway. My father arrived simultaneously, carrying a briefcase I'd never seen before. Paige, Jared called out as they entered. Meet Marcus, my attorney. He's here to help with some paperwork. Pleasure, I said, shaking his hand firmly. I hope you don't mind, but I took the liberty of inviting my own attorney. She'll be joining us by video call. The room went silent. My mother's hand froze mid-arrangement. Your attorney? My father asked slowly. Of course. I smiled pleasantly. For the paperwork. Jared laughed, but I caught the nervous edge in it. Sis, that's really not necessary. Marcus can handle everything. I'm sure he can, but I'd prefer having my own representation. I checked my phone. Bonnie's here. My aunt entered, giving me a quick wink as she hugged everyone hello. She positioned herself perfectly, right where she could see both my laptop screen and the entire family. Well, my mother clapped her hands. Shall we eat first? The caterers have prepared a lovely meal. Actually, Jared cut in, we should handle business first. Marcus has another appointment. Perfect, I said, opening my laptop. I have some business to discuss too. My father frowned. Paige, this is serious family business. Maybe we should. Oh, I know exactly how serious this is. I turned on the projector I'd set up earlier. In fact, I've prepared a presentation. A presentation? My mother laughed nervously. Honey, this isn't a business meeting, isn't it? I connected my laptop to the projector. Because I see a lawyer, paperwork, and a catered meal. Seems very businesslike to me. Jarrett stepped forward, his usual confidence wavering slightly. Sis, we're just trying to help you make smart decisions about your property. My property, I repeated, emphasizing each word. Interesting choice of words. Speaking of which, I pressed a button, and documents filled the screen. Would anyone like to explain these? The deed transfer papers I'd found appeared, along with emails between my family members discussing their plans. Where did you get those? My father demanded. Does it matter? What matters is that while you were planning to take my house, I was planning something else entirely. I clicked again, and new documents appeared. My development plans, permits, and investor agreements. What is this? Jarrett stepped closer to the screen, his face paling. This, I said calmly, is the Historic District Restoration Project. 4 properties, 12 boutique businesses, and projected returns that would make your investors weep. Oh, and it's fully funded and approved by the Preservation Board. That's impossible, Jarrett sputtered. The board never approves major development in the historic district. They do when the developer has a proven track record of historical preservation. I pulled up photos of my home renovation, like, say, someone who spent 3 years restoring a Victorian mansion. My mother sank into a chair. But you don't know anything about real estate development. Actually, a new voice joined in as my laptop chimed with an incoming video call. She knows quite a bit. Ethan's face appeared on screen along with 3 other investors. Hello everyone, he said cheerfully. Hope we're not interrupting the family dinner. We just wanted to meet the woman behind the most exciting development project this district has seen in years. The look on Jarrett's face was priceless. He knew exactly who these investors were, the same ones who'd rejected his proposals multiple times. Now, I said, turning to Marcus. I believe you had some paperwork for me to sign. The lawyer shifted uncomfortably. Perhaps we should reschedule. No need. I pulled out my own stack of documents. I have all the paperwork right here, including records of every attempt to access my trust fund without my knowledge. My father stood up abruptly. This is ridiculous. We were only trying to take what isn't yours, Bonnie interrupted, her phone visibly recording. Maybe we should discuss that part next. The room fell silent except for the gentle of the projector, displaying my triumph for all to see. And we weren't even halfway through dinner. Let's review exactly what was supposed to happen tonight, I said, clicking to the next slide. You were going to present me with transfer papers, convince me it was for my own good, and take control of my house, and by extension, my trust fund. We were protecting you, my mother protested. From what? Success? I played one of the recordings from Thanksgiving. Jared's voice filled the room. Once we get control, we'll leverage everything for the new development. She'll thank us later. You recorded us? My father's face reddened. That's completely legal in this state, I cut in. One-party consent. I learned that in those cooking classes I've been taking. Jared paced the room, his confident facade cracking. Those properties you bought? That's why the sellers wouldn't return my calls. They preferred working with someone who respected the historical value of their buildings. I nodded to Ethan on the screen. Isn't that right? Indeed, Ethan smiled. Paige's restoration work on her home impressed the entire preservation community. Her vision for the district aligned perfectly with what we've been hoping to see. My mother turned to Marcus. Can she do this? Can she just take over the district like this? The lawyer cleared his throat. Everything appears to be legally sound. The properties are purchased, the permits approved, and the funding secured. But what about her trust fund? My father demanded. We have a right. You have no rights to my trust fund, I interrupted, displaying the trust documents. Grandmother made that very clear. It's mine until I'm 40, and then it's still mine. Your only hope was to control my assets and force me to leverage the fund. How's that working out? Bonnie stifled a laugh as Jarrett slumped into a chair. The investors? He muttered. They're the same ones who rejected your proposals 3 times. I finished. Yes. Funny how they prefer historical preservation to modern high-rises. On screen, one of the investors spoke up. Miss Paige's project is exactly what the district needs, traditional character with modern appeal. We're expecting significant returns. But I had plans, Jarrett protested weakly. Development deals like these? I displayed his failed project history. 3 bankruptcies, 2 investor lawsuits, and a reputation for destroying historical properties. Did you really think I wouldn't research my own brother? My mother burst into tears. We were trying to help. You're all alone in this big house. I'm not alone, Mom. I have a successful career, loyal friends, and now I gestured to the screen. Business partners who actually respect me. Respect? My father scoffed. You've betrayed your family. No. Bonnie stood up. You betrayed her. Every time you dismissed her achievements. Every time you praised Jared while ignoring her success. Every time you tried to control her life because you thought she was incapable. Marcus began gathering his papers. I don't think my services will be needed tonight. Actually, I said, stay. There's one more thing. I pulled out a final document. This is a cease and desist order. If any of you attempt to interfere with my property or business dealings again, I'll be forced to take legal action. You'd sue your own family?" My mother gasped. "You were about to steal from your own daughter," Bonnie pointed out. Jarrett stood suddenly. "This isn't over. I have connections. Sit down." Ethan's voice cut through the room. "Your connections won't help. The Preservation Board has already approved our plans. Any interference would be unwise." My father grabbed his briefcase. "Come on, we're leaving." "But the dinner," my mother gestured at the untouched food. "I think we're done here," I said firmly. "Bonnie can stay. The rest of you, I'll have my lawyer contact yours about the cease and desist." They filed out. My mother crying, my father fuming, Jared looking shell-shocked. Marcus followed, nodding respectfully to me as he left. After they were gone, Bonnie hugged me tight. That was magnificent. The investors on screen agreed, scheduling a meeting for next week before signing off. Ethan remained. "You did good, kid," he said proudly. "Want me to keep an eye on Jarrett's movements?" "Please. He won't take this lying down." After ending the call, Bonnie and I sat amid the elaborate catering my mother had ordered. "Well," Bonnie said, lifting a wine glass, "shall we toast to the new queen of historic district development?" I raised my glass, feeling lighter than I had in years. "To family," I said with a slight smirk, "and to karma." The house felt different now, not just mine, but truly mine. No more shadows of family manipulation, no more doubt about my capabilities. They'd tried to take everything from me. Instead, they'd only succeeded in showing me exactly how strong I really was. The fallout came faster than I expected. The morning after our confrontation, my phone exploded with messages from extended family members. "How could you embarrass your brother like this?" My Aunt Martha wrote. "Your poor mother is devastated," Cousin Rachel chimed in. I ignored them all, focusing instead on the email from Ethan. "Jarrett's been making calls, meeting in my office now." When I arrived, Ethan wasn't alone. 3 members of the Preservation Board were there, looking grim. "Your brother's been busy," Ethan said, gesturing for me to sit. "Tell her." The board chairman cleared his throat. "Mr. Jarrett has filed a formal complaint alleging you obtained the permits through inappropriate means." Of course he has. I pulled out my phone. "Would you like to hear what he really thinks about historical preservation?" I played a recording from Thanksgiving. Jarrett calling the Preservation Board outdated fossils and bragging about his plans to modernize the district, whether those history nuts like it or not. The chairman's eyebrows shot up. "Well, that's illuminating." "I have more," I offered, including his plans to demolish 3 Victorian buildings once he gained control. "That won't be necessary," another board member said quickly. "We know quality work when we see it. Your brother's complaints are noted and dismissed." After they left, Ethan showed me more of Jarrett's handiwork. He's been calling investors, trying to shake their confidence, but he didn't expect this. He pulled up an article from the city's business journal, Historic District Renaissance. Local developer leads preservation-focused revival. My phone buzzed. "Bonnie, turn on the local news now." Ethan flipped on his office TV just in time to see Jarrett being interviewed outside my house. "My sister's project is reckless," he was saying. "She doesn't have the experience." The reporter cut him off. "Sources say you attempted to seize control of her property just yesterday. Care to comment on that?" Jarrett's face reddened. "That's a private family matter. Is it true the Preservation Board rejected your development plans 3 times? The reporter pressed on, while approving your sister's proposal unanimously. "This interview is over." Jarrett stormed off camera. "That was satisfying," I said, but Ethan looked concerned. "He's desperate now. Desperate people make mistakes." Right on cue, my phone rang. "My father. You've destroyed your brother's reputation," he snapped without preamble. "No. He did that himself. I just exposed it. He's had to withdraw from 3 development deals because of you. Investors are pulling out. Because they've finally seen who he really is, that's not my problem. Fix this," he demanded. "Release a statement supporting him. Say it was all a misunderstanding or what, or you'll regret it." Family can be a powerful enemy, Paige. "Is that a threat, Dad?" "It's a reality check. You think you can survive in this business without family connections?" I laughed. "I already have. And unlike Jared, I did it honestly." "You ungrateful? Goodbye, Dad. Have your lawyer contact mine if you have anything else to say." I hung up to find Ethan grinning. "Your father just accidentally gave us a gift." "How so?" "That was basically a recorded threat. Perfect for our restraining order application." My phone buzzed again. My mother this time, but with a text. "We raised you better than this. Your grandmother would be ashamed." I showed Ethan the message. "Would she though?" Your grandmother left you that trust fund for a reason, he reminded me. She saw something in you that your parents never did. A knock at the door interrupted us, one of our investors. Sorry to drop in, she said, but I wanted to deliver this in person. She handed me a check. We're doubling our investment. Your brother's little media stunt just proved we backed the right developer. After she left, Ethan raised an eyebrow. Still worried about family connections? No, I smiled. But I am worried about Jared. He won't stop. Let him try. Ethan pulled up our project plans. Every move he makes just proves why you're the better choice. Now shall we review the construction timeline? As we worked, my phone kept buzzing with family messages, each one more desperate than the last. I turned it off. They'd had decades to see me, to appreciate me, to treat me as an equal. Instead, they'd tried to take everything I'd built. Now they were learning the hard way. The daughter they'd underestimated had become the woman they couldn't control, and I was just getting started. The grand opening of the historic district revival project drew crowds beyond our expectations. Local news crews lined the streets as I cut the ribbon in front of the first completed building, a restored Victorian mansion turned boutique hotel. Miss Page, reporters called out, how does it feel to complete Phase 1 ahead of schedule? Before I could answer, a familiar voice cut through the crowd. This is a mistake. She stole these opportunities. Jarrett pushed his way forward, looking disheveled in a wrinkled suit. My mother and father trailed behind him, trying to pull him back. Not now, my father hissed. You're making it worse. No. Jared shrugged them off. Everyone needs to know the truth. This was supposed to be my project. The reporters' cameras swiveled toward him, exactly what Ethan and I had anticipated might happen. Sir, one reporter asked, aren't you the developer who tried to demolish these historic buildings? The one who lost 3 investor lawsuits? Another chimed in. That's not I mean. Jarrett stammered. Actually, I spoke up, my voice carrying clearly through the microphone. This seems like a perfect teaching moment. Success isn't about who deserves what. It's about who puts in the work, respects the community, and builds something meaningful. The crowd applauded. Bonnie, standing beside me, squeezed my hand. You think you're so clever. My mother stepped forward. But you've torn this family apart. No, Mom, you did that when you tried to steal my home and my future. We were protecting you. From what? I gestured at the restored building behind me. From success? From independence? Look around. Everything you thought I couldn't do? I did it. And I did it better than Jarrett ever could. The Preservation Board chairman approached the microphone. If I may add, Miss Page's work has set a new standard for historical development in our city. We've already had inquiries from other districts wanting to replicate her model. Jared's face contorted. This isn't over. I'll appeal the permits. I'll know. You won't. Ethan stepped forward, holding up his phone. Because while you've been making scenes, the State Historical Society just designated this entire project as a protected development zone. Any interference would be a criminal offense. My father grabbed Jared's arm. Come on, son. We're leaving. That's right, I said quietly. Leave. Just like you left me to fend for myself all those years. The difference is, I learned how to succeed without you. As they turned to go, my mother looked back. You'll regret pushing your family away. I'm not pushing anyone away. I'm standing my ground. When you're ready to accept that, to see me for who I really am, maybe we can talk, but not until then. They disappeared into the crowd as the reporters turned back to me. Miss Page, what's next for the historic district revival? I smiled, gesturing to the row of buildings awaiting restoration. We're just getting started. Each of these properties represents a piece of our city's history, and we're going to bring them back to life, one building at a time. The interviews continued, but I was watching my family's retreat. They'd come today expecting to witness my failure. Instead, they'd been forced to face their own. Later, at the reception in the new hotel's grand ballroom, Bonnie found me by the window. Your grandmother would have loved this, she said, looking around at the carefully restored details. She always said you had her spirit. I wish she could see it. Oh, she sees it, Bonnie smiled. She saw it when she left you that trust fund. She knew exactly what you'd do with it. Ethan joined us, champagne in hand, to the most successful historic restoration project the city has seen in decades. And to family, Bonnie added. The ones who choose to lift you up, not tear you down. I looked around the ballroom filled with investors, community members, and supporters who'd believed in my vision. This was my real family now. To new beginnings, I said, raising my glass, and to standing your ground. Through the window, I could see the lights of my house in the distance. My house, my achievement, my proof that sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying others. It's about building something they said you never could. The preservation board chairman approached with another potential investor, eager to discuss future projects. As I turned to greet them, I felt completely at peace. My family had tried to write my story for me, but I'd taken back the pen. And this was just the first chapter.